Hello and welcome back to another Dev Diary. Today's one all about zoning and unique buildings. I'm very excited to see how this goes. Obviously, we know that there is now mixed-use residential in the game. Very excited to see that. But hopefully in this one, we will have our industrial answers from our industrial questions answered. So hopefully we can see how much of an impact all of these different natural resources can influence the game. Obviously here you're seeing a lot of interesting layouts, and this is something that's definitely different from other intros. Obviously it's still 60 seconds, but the fact that there is so much more landscape here, I feel like we're definitely going to be leaning into that industrial side of things. But apart from that, I'm very excited. Let's jump in and see how things go.
Every decision you make weaves a thread into the fabric of your city. But don't for a second imagine a smooth, seamless surface. Cities don't work like that. Instead, it's an urban patchwork marked by the realities of life and living. You'll create and stitch it together with zoning. Zoning lets you decide where people live and work. You create these residential, commercial, and industrial zones with zoning tools. They work in a couple of different ways. Click and drag over cells on the map to zone large rectangular areas. Zone all adjacent cells with one click. Or get granular, zoning a neighborhood cell by cell. When you establish a city, you choose a map. The map's theme dictates if your city's buildings will have a North American or European architectural style. You can now use zoning tools to mix it up. Go on, sprinkle a little North American flair into your European city, or vice versa. Okay, you know how zoning tools work, but what can you zone? Well, let's start with residential zones. The places and spaces where citizens relax with friends, raise families, and rest their heads night after night. There are now 6 residential zone types. 2 will be familiar: low-density housing, detached houses for single families, and high-density housing, tall towers packed with residents. New zoning types include medium-density row housing and medium-density apartment buildings. There's low-rent housing now too. Huge apartment buildings with tiny apartments. Finally, there's mixed housing. Here, residents live in apartments above ground floor shops. Mixed housing adds next-level realism because homes and shops rub elbows like most real-world city centers. Ready to talk business? You'll create dedicated commercial zones where companies sell the locally produced and imported goods people need and want. Your commercial zones are also where citizens and tourists eat out, catch the latest blockbuster, and dance until dawn. You'll establish industrial zones with factories, workshops, and warehouses where businesses can store goods ready for distribution or export. You'll also develop office zones. Here you'll find small, low-density buildings with only a few businesses in operation. You'll also get the glittering, high-density towers that define your city's silhouette in the sky. Growing your city and zoning go hand in hand. Here's an example. You zone residential areas that boost the population, and with it, the demand for jobs. You respond by creating an industrial zone with factories where people get to work. Now, these factories produce goods, but they won't stay in business long without somewhere to sell them. You solve that problem by expanding commercial zones. You see? Each zone helps create the momentum you need to realize the city of your dreams. And it wouldn't be the city of your dreams without signature buildings. These are unique residential, commercial, industrial, and office buildings that you unlock as your city expands. They're free to build, and you can plop them anywhere. Plop. It's Cities Skylines lingo. Go on, say it. Plop. What's so special about signature buildings? Well, they function like any zoned building. A home for people, a warehouse for industry, an office for workers. But they can elevate the neighborhood in unique ways. Signature buildings can also bring citywide benefits. Zone and place your signature buildings carefully so each city district flourishes and plays its part in the success of the whole city. Life's rich tapestry has never been richer than in Cities Skylines 2.
Okay, so some very interesting stuff to pick out there. Very interesting stuff to pick up there. I think you probably saw my face drop on a particular moment, which I'm very excited about. So let's go back through and check things frame by frame, as we always do, just in case we missed anything. Because sometimes, you know, I'm not perfect. We all miss things. Okay, so let's have a look. So it sounds like signature buildings act similarly to how unique buildings worked in CS1. However, I think that they're going to give more of a benefit to different types of zoning, whether that's residential, commercial, which is actually a first for CS. I know they kind of linked it in with an expansions with like plazas and pedestrian areas. So that's an interesting thing to see. But yes, we will see how this goes. Okay, let's have a look. So again, some very unique buildings here. I think we've seen a lot of this city countless times, right? This is the city done by 2020. We love it. I don't think we're going to see too much in terms of new buildings, but
Zoning lets you decide where people live and work.
okay, so there's a different sort of overlay here, but you can see that most of the things that we saw on the water are actually confirmed to be industrial now, which is very exciting. Oddly enough, this power plant up here doesn't come under industrial. Now, obviously, it's probably more of a power source, but I was kind of surprised to see that. But it looks like, as well, that the roads change depending on what you've got clicked on as well. So here, I'm going to guess this is commercial and how busy these streets are for commercial traffic, which is exciting. And then we've flipped forward to industrial. Ooh, a bit too far there. Or this is office, but you can see how busy office traffic is. So that's quite unique as well. I do like that feature. Right, let's get down and dirty with this stuff as well. Okay, so we already knew. So it is now confirmed that we've got low density, mid-rise townhouse, mid-rise, what are they called? Tenement buildings. What are they called? I've already forgotten. Apartment blocks. That's the word. Mixed use, and then we've got these high-rise ones as well, which is wonderful. Doesn't say anything up in that top corner. And then we've got low density and high density commercial. Didn't really imagine that they put extra into that, if I'm completely honest. But actually, zoning stuff looks fairly normal to CS. Now, this is our first look at the map selection page. I'm just trying to see what's here. Obviously, we've got quite a few different maps. Just behind me is like an archipelago, which is very exciting. And a good variety of maps as well. And it looks like different grass colors might relate to different types of environments that you get, which is interesting. Which is quite nice. Natural resources, again. So you've got fertile land for corn or wheat. Lots of trees. I'm going to guess that's coal and oil. Oh, actually, I think I've just confirmed it. Natural hemisphere. But they did click on a different one, didn't they? They did click on another one. Oh, northern hemisphere. Apologies. But yeah, so you can see that the climate changes. So I'm going to guess that's why the different types of greenery and stuff. It also shows outside connections power. So I think we can also get power for an outside connection. I'm not sure if that was already confirmed or not. Here, we've got the city name up the top, the type of theme that they said. And then we've got a very simple thing here. Natural disasters on or off. I love that feature, so you don't need to activate that from the menu. Left-hand traffic for me, the Brit, and other people, of course. And tutorials. Tutorials on and off. I love that feature as well. And I really do hope that they have like an in-depth tutorial, because the one in CS1 was never that good in my opinion. But I'm hoping it's more detailed and will help a lot more first-time players. So more beautiful city. So there we're talking about different housing densities, which is already confirmed. There's those small ones. Those are the apartment blocks. Obviously, I love the fact that we can now see what mixed use looks like. Beautiful assets. Absolutely beautiful assets. I'm really hoping that was a cheese. Just a little cheese sign there. Wonderful. And then a bit more. Right. And they did say that it directly influences your city as well. So I'm quite excited to see how the stuff that you make in the industries, because I believe they confirmed that. We'll check the Steam community in a second, but I believe that's what they confirmed, which I'm very excited about. Right, where is this screenshot that I loved? These warehouses look incredible as well. I'm very happy about these, and the way that they like interconnect with different buildings. I'm gonna hope that this is like an upgrades version, because they didn't really show too much of that off. Again, low density offices, very beautiful buildings once again. Now, I just want to get to the shot that I was super happy about. This right here. I'm going to play this section, actually, because I want to see... I just want to remind myself what happened here.
You respond by...
Okay, you can see move node here, so you can customize where your farmland is off the grid. So you don't need to zone little fields. I think when it comes to actual farms, you can control where they are. And I'm so excited about that. I'm so excited about that. I'm just going to quickly hide my face so we can see what it says behind me. So levels. So it sounds like all farming areas will have a level. Efficiency, 108. Employees. Almost Meat produces vegetables. Great name. I love that. But I love the fact that you can do this now. I love the fact that you can bring your own nodes, because that's just going to fill in so much of that extra dead space, especially for vanilla players as well. I'm so excited about that. And look how beautiful this looks as well. Look how beautiful this looks. Also, I'm trying to figure out what this is. This is a little bit of an odd one. Maybe that's some sort of tractor in the field, perhaps? That I'm super excited for. Just like, look how up to the edge this is as well. It looks absolutely beautiful. I'm so excited for this. Oh, hang on, what was that? Oh, they're little storage huts. I imagine they're little storage huts, actually. Oh my god, I'm so excited for this now. I mean, I've been excited for this for a long, long time. And then they talked about unique buildings. I'm surprised that they're free and did the whole plot thing. I'm very surprised at that. I wish I could see more of these, of what they were all saying. Maybe there was a few little bits here. Okay, so this one's a switch on from the humble toaster to the self-organizing sock drawer. This factory makes everything that runs on electricity. Interesting. Okay, so you can see here plus 2% to industrial efficiency and plus 1 college graduation chance. College graduation chance is an interesting term. I wonder if that's going to directly influence our... Oh, I wonder if like grades and stuff are going to come into play here. That's interesting. That is interesting. Never really thought about that. But they did it once more with commercial. I believe. I'm kind of hoping that we'll see it there. There you go. Corundum condos, a modern classic that puts a smile on the face of inhabitants, plus 4 well-being within the area. I'm not sure if that's going to function how like happiness worked. We'll see, but you can already see there's quite a few buildings here in the base game, so I'm quite excited to see how that all functions. Also very beautiful. Also very beautiful. Lodges, interesting as well. But yeah, I think that's about it. Let's have a quick look at the Steam page. Okay, so we're back on the Steam page. So I'm going to skim through this because I imagine most of this is going to be similar to CS1, or we've already confirmed that in the video. So we've also got architectural themes. I'm going to hope at some point they release more themes, or because we have such a great modding community that there will be additional ones created. I am intrigued to see how modders and assets build things in this. Very intrigued. I want to create a 2x2 residential with the paint tool. You can. Perfect. So we know about zone types already. Low rent housing is especially useful. So that's going to be all those apartment blocks for young adults and students. Perfect. I love the amount of detail they're going into this. They're clearly thinking how the citizens are going to be directly influenced by all this sort of stuff. And I'm actually really happy to see how Colossal Order and Paradox are actually going for this, because I think that's something that we never really took for granted in CS1, like actually creating a city for people's lives, you know? It's very handy, very handy. Okay, so we know about the commercial, low density, high density. This also means they can sell more goods from their stock compared to smaller low density buildings. Okay, so stock is going to be a thing as well. Interesting. Right, this is the thing that I want to read. Industrial zones divide into manufacturing companies and warehouses. Manufacturing encompasses most of the industrial zones as factories and workshops, while warehouses appears here and there, answering to the needs of different companies. Okay. Warehouses store produced goods to be shipped further, but they are still waiting for transport. Got it. Okay. So there's going to be essentially two types of industrial zoning. One to create everything, one to store everything. Love that. Industrial zone manufactures goods from materials that are either transported from outside connections or extracted and processed locally. Some goods are sold to commercial businesses who can sell them to customers. For example, food. I think my industrial questions are being answered here. I really do believe that our industry is going to directly influence our commercial in the fact that they've mentioned stock, they have mentioned food. I've got a good feeling about this. Whilst other goods are first sold to commercial businesses when where they are further converted into products or material goods such as beverages turned into entertainment. So maybe we're going to see cinemas. Maybe we're going to see other types of entertainment in that sort of sense. Very excited about that. Office zoning we probably know about. Zone suitability. Each zone type has a zone suitability info view, which activates when you start zoning. Depending on the zone type, it shows pertinent information about which areas are suitable for these selected zones. As an example, zoning commercial alongside... zoning commercial areas shows information about where the potential customers are located. Now that's an interesting feature as well. That is a very interesting. Easy to avoid when zoning. It also shows areas that might otherwise be unsuitable, perhaps due to high land value. Oh, maybe that's what we were seeing on the roads then. Maybe it wasn't the amount of people on those roads getting to those sorts of buildings. Maybe it was the land value surrounding it. Interesting. Zoning demand looks a lot different. Oh, it's actually an actual pop-out. Interesting. Interesting. And we're about halfway down, so I do feel like we're going to have low density, medium density, and high density residential demand to deal with. And yeah, I'm going to say that gap is about the same, so I'm going to guess it's probably just offices underneath this. Oh, good lord, there is a lot of detail here. There's a lot of detail here. Residential zone demands also increases job in industrial. When employment increases and jobs aren't available, residential demand decreases. So fairly similar to how CS1 works. And I'm going to guess most of this has this similar thing. Commercial demand, however, having goods and products to sell is only half the business. Commercial zones also require enough purchasing power from the local citizens. So I'm going to guess that's related to jobs as well. This local demand for goods and products is extremely important. Yeah, so that works exactly the same as well. And industrial demand looks about the same as well. Okay, perfect. Land value and building levels. Citizens tend to value large homes, the proximity to shops, services they require. Again, fairly similar stuff. Fairly similar stuff. If the rent is higher than the upkeep cost of the building, residents pool their leftover funds into improving the building, which eventually leads to the building leveling up. There are a lot of micro features in here that I don't think a lot of people are going to remember. Wow, okay. To keep land value in check, you can adjust the various residential taxes. Obviously, fairly... we're all aware of that 12% margin. Shortcomings in regards. Okay, yeah. So we're gonna essentially be managing not only the rent, the taxes, the produce that comes in and out of the city, maybe how much we're charging for it. All of this is going to influence the citizens' happiness. Jesus Christ, I can see why a lot of people are saying it's gonna be a lot more difficult to manage, but this is why I will love this game, not because I'm a micromanager. I promise. As land value increases, citizens prefer small homes so they can afford their rent. Interesting. Okay. And I imagine building levels are going to be similar. Signature buildings. We had a quick look at in the video. Signature allow you to build large commercial buildings, massive factories, or impressive offices which function the same. So that's a really nice feature as well, because usually the unique buildings that we had in CS1 are more of a tourist attraction. They attract visitors, but they don't function like the zoning building that they're meant to be. So I like the fact that you can place down a residential signature building and it still acts like a place where people can live. I love that. I do love that. Oh, actually, it looks like we've got another one here. Coda Park provides both citywide and local benefits. What's this say? I'm going to read it just behind my head. +1 office efficiency, +5 interest in university education, +1 university graduation chance. University graduation chance, not college. So I think they've separated that potentially. +5 well-being within a kilometer. Very interesting. Also a very unique and modern building as well. I quite like that. But I think that's going to do everything. Now, I will admit, unfortunately, next Monday, this video will probably be delayed because, which one is that? That is City Services. I'm going to be traveling between Poland and Lithuania for some, personal downtime. I will try and get that up as soon as possible, but it will not be as soon as this current video, as all of my other videos. But we're back definitely on time for the electricity and water one, which I'm excited to see as well. But until next time, if you want to catch me live, we play Cities Skylines every Saturday at 3 p.m. BST on my Twitch channel, which you can obviously see all the links down below. And if not, I'll see you on the next one. Bye now.